a okay, there we go. Good morning, everyone, and somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. All right, good. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Got a lot of information to cover, and hopefully this will help you guys in making decisions with respect to the voluntary early out and the retiree health reimbursement arrangement account. Just as a disclaimer, two things. Number one, the Transport Workers Union, we're providing this as an educational service only. The material that we are relying upon has been provided by American Airlines, but American Airlines has not approved this presentation. But this is a presentation that has been provided or built on information that has been provided by American Airlines. If there are a couple of areas in here that can get a little legal, and I'll definitely point that out in our conversation. If so, or when that happens, I definitely want to make clear or make very, very clear that the TWU nor myself are providing any type of legal advice to you. You do need information to be able to make this decision. So our objective is to provide as much information as possible so you can go through that process and do just that. So in getting started, my name is Mark, and Mark Loeber, and I'm have been on board with the local 514 here in Tulsa for about 20 years, and professionally been working in this area for 34 years. Throughout this presentation, it's not real long, but I did not go through. You're going to see on several of the other pages, TWU local 514. So just realizing I'm not speaking to the 514, but this is the presentation that I did provide to them. I just did not go through and modify all of the slides to reflect that. So just to give you a heads up there, as you'll wonder why you'll see 514 on some of the headers on the slides. All right, we're going to do some chat and some Q&A. So if you have questions, go ahead. I've got somebody that is out there. Dustin is helping me, and he will be collecting our questions as we go through as well. So with that, let's get started. If this is going to go. There we go. We're going to review the early out packages or the programs that are available. There are two. We're going to review the Retiree Health Reimbursement Arrangement Account, otherwise known as the RHRA. There are different considerations for retiring that would be in place if you are younger than 62. Specifically with respect to the pension, to the extent that you commence your pension prior to age 60, there's a 3% reduction per year. 62 happens to be the age in which you can commence Social Security. So there are unique considerations that you would want to consider or review if you're looking at taking the early out program. If you're younger than 62, if you're 62 to 64, there are issues there as well as with respect to 65 and older, and that's sort of that Medicare age. And this is important, especially prior to your full Social Security retirement age, if you're going to be taking the voluntary early out for 12 months versus the lump sum, because you're still going to be deemed to be on active payroll. So that could have implications with respect to your Social Security benefits as well. There are other factors other than just the VEOP and the RHRA that you need to take into consideration. We need to take a look at your other income, your other expenses, health insurance to the extent that you will not make it to age 65 and become Medicare eligible, bridging you to 65, and that's part of the RHRA amount of money, but where are you going to get insurance to cover that gap in time? And then also your federal and Oklahoma taxes. Well, I'll say federal and state taxes in this situation. What are the implications with respect to your tax withholding in your respective state and also on the federal side? How does Medicare work? You have multiple parts to Medicare. You have Medicare A, B, D, a Medicare supplement, that's traditional Medicare. Then you have your Medicare Advantage plans. Social Security for you, your spouse, understanding when you commence Social Security. If you commence prior to your full Social Security retirement age, what's that mean? And what's that reduction? Survivor's benefit. If you were to pass away, what happens with respect to your pension, Social Security, the RHRA account? Debt repayment strategies, 401k loans, loans on your home, your mortgage, and things like that. What are some strategies there? And then also estate planning. There are issues with respect to managing your assets and making sure that your spouse and you have the ability to manage those assets outside of the court guardianship process, and then also probate. So, and then we'll talk about very quickly next actions. The items that are italicized, depending upon how long we go today, I may not have the time to go into all of that information. That's oftentimes what we cover in the individual meetings. But there's a lot of information here to tie back into the VEOP as well as the health reimbursement arrangement account to understand which one of these options is best for your situation. A friend of yours, a team member of yours may select, for example, a joint and survivor 50%, and you may select the same joint and survivor 50% for your situation, but you may have arrived at getting to that conclusion for two different reasons or multiple different reasons. So you may end up in the same place, but for different reasons. All right, so let's jump into, hold on just a second here. Okay, so let's go here. Eligibility with respect to the VEOP, with respect to the 12-month payout period, as well as the lump sum. You must be an active U.S.-based mainline representative team member and have 10 years or more of work group seniority as of July 15th, 2020. My understanding is that July 15th date has not changed. So 10 years or more. I've had a number of phone calls where people have asked, hey, listen, I've got 9 years, 8 years, 9.5 years. And if you don't have 10, then it doesn't work. Oh, you can't see the screen? Share screen. Let's see, apparently you were not able to see my screen, and I want to make sure that you are now. I apologize for that. Let me go back here. Are you able to see my screen, or are you still seeing me? You see the screen? Okay, good. Let me, there we go. There's the agenda. So the voluntary early out, we're going to view the RHRA considerations before 62, 62 to 64, and 65 and older, different issues, and then other issues that we've talked about. So that's just a picture of what I just opened up with. I do want to pick this up here. Down at the bottom in the red, neither TWU nor myself are rendering legal advice. This is educational purposes, and it should not be relied upon. You should seek independent legal opinion. Nonetheless, the information has been provided that has built this presentation is provided by American Airlines material, and but American Airlines has not approved this presentation, nor has the international. So this is educational information. And again, I said that 514 is on the presentation throughout. I just did not go through and modify all of the slides. So again, here's what we're talking about, and we'll end up with the next steps. Eligibility for both the 12-month and the lump sum is July 15th of 2020. And you have to have 10 or more years of seniority. Key dates. Very, very important here to pick up. The deadline has been extended. The window has been extended to August 12th at midnight. So that's another advantage. We got a little bit of a break here and some time to help us to help people figure out what's going on and what they can do. Here are some dates that you're going to want to write down, guys. These are important. These are different for the 12-month VEOP 12-month versus the VEOP lump sum. The VEOP 12 months, your VEOP effective date is September 28th, 2020. You are on active coverage, you're still on payroll until September 27th, 2021. So your VEOP effective date is September 28th of 2020. Your separation date is September 27th, 2021. To the extent that you take the lump sum, your separation date is September 30, with your effective date being October 1, and that's when you become eligible to commence your pension as well. All right? So you're going to want to make sure that you have those dates written down. Let's go to there we go. So what is the pay? The pay under the VEOP 12 months, you're getting 6 months of pay paid over a 12-month period of time. It does exclude your premium pay, your shift differential, overtime, and holiday pay. So effectively speaking, it is your base pay. The VEOP, that rate of pay remains fixed for the 12 months. The VEOP, if you're on payroll, you are on payroll, and it allows eligible team members to receive pay as you're applicable to your work group over that 12-month period of time. Because you are not, point number 2, separated from the company, you cannot access that RHRA account. You are not eligible to use that to pay your premiums during the 12-month period of time. That's actually the premiums for your health insurance will be subtracted from your pay. With respect to the VEOP lump sum, your lump sum will be paid no later than, it could be on or before August 15th of 21. You are then deemed to be separated from the company on the, your VEOP lump sum allows you to separate from the company on September 30th. So you will not be receiving the 12 months of pay. You're separating from the company. Number 2, the lump sum options allows you to start your pension, and it does permit you to access the RHRA account. Okay, so 2 distinct differences. You do have the ability to start your pension, and you have the ability to access the RHR to pay for eligible expenses. So we're going to go into the RHRA account now. On the medical side, you will receive medical coverage for a total of 30 months under the VEOP 12 months. The first 12 months, however, you will receive medical coverage at active rates, and you are deemed to be on payroll. So your health care will be subtracted from your paycheck, okay? That's during the 12 months. After separation, which will be September 27th of next year, 2021, then you enroll in COBRA coverage for an additional 18 months. COBRA will be administering your plan then at active rates, but it will be administered through COBRA. The cost of your health care benefits will be deducted from your pay as normal while you're still on AA payroll. After September 27th, you pay the same monthly rates directly to the Benefit Service Center through COBRA, and then through monthly invoicing during the 18 months of remaining time for you or your spouse or eligible dependents. The VEOP, after separation on September 30th, you enroll in COBRA for your medical, dental, and vision. Coverage for those 30 months will continue at your active rates. Here is the point here that is, you will not receive your COBRA application until probably sometime towards the end of October. Coverage, though, is retroactive to October 1. After separation, you pay the same rates directly to the Benefit Service Center. They're going to continue to bill you through that 30-month period of time. All right? So differences there as to when you go making your arrangements to pay your premiums. Here's an important reminder. Under the VEOP lump sum, if you and or your spouse are eligible for Medicare, you must enroll in Medicare because Medicare is primary coverage to the company insurance. So if you're Medicare eligible, you need to be enrolling in Medicare. If you're only in Part A, you need to enroll in Part B, and then your Part D, and then you can look at your Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage, depending upon which route you want to go. When you enroll in a Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage, we will discuss that if we have some extra time here a little bit later. So if you're in Medicare, generally speaking, you'll want to compare why you would stay on COBRA as compared to going into Medicare or Medicare Advantage. So because there's going to be some duplication of expenses there. You're going to be paying for, if you're on COBRA and on Medicare A, B, and D and got a supplement, you're going to be paying a lot of extra money. So you may want to consider going over just to Medicare and not doing the coverage if you or your spouse are eligible for Medicare. Okay, how does this all work? The company will establish this RHRA account following separation. So when are you separating? That's going to be September 27th of next year under the VEOP 12 months. Depending upon your age, then you're going to have anywhere from 100 to 150,000 available in your RHRA for reimbursement of qualified medical expenses. To the extent that you separate under the VEOP, to the extent that you accept the VEOP lump sum, they will create your RHR account, and it will be credited again with the value of 100 to 150,000, depending upon how close you are to Medicare as well. But remember, you have access to your VEOP, have access to your RHRA under the lump sum beginning October 1. Under the VEOP 12 months, it's not available until you separate from the company September 27 of 2021 next year. Couple of other reminders here. You enrolling in the RHRA, you are automatically enrolled in the RHRA if you are eligible. You need not to do anything. Okay, so you are automatically enrolled in the RHRA. There's been some confusion on that. What the confusion was with respect to unused sick days. Your unused sick days, if you wish to roll those over your sick bank into the RHRA, then you have to complete the necessary paperwork. If you're doing the VEOP, you complete that by going on JetNet, and you elect to roll over your sick days 4 months prior to separating from the company. So if you're separating September of next year, August, July, June, okay, so you're looking at May, June is when you're going to be enrolling in, making application to enroll your unused sick days into the RHRA. If you are doing the VEOP lump sum, they have waived the 4-month period, and you must complete the form. From my understanding, we need to get some more clarification on this, but within 10 days of electing your VEOP lump sum on JetNet. So there are some time differences there. They're waiving the 4-month requirement under the VEOP lump sum, but you have a certain period of time, 10 days, to elect that on JetNet. And I don't know if the definition of when you've elected, if that is as the date that you actually went in and signed up for the VEOP lump sum, or is it as of August 12th? So to be conservative, I would be going in on JetNet and signing up for the VEOP lump sum. Or excuse me, if you're under the VEO lump sum, you want to go in and sign up if you're wanting to roll over your unused sick days into the RHRA. Here's where you would go on JetNet to do that. So if you look up here, you go to all places, pay and benefits, retirement planning documents. Step number 1, understand retirement eligibility. Come all the way down here, and where it says TWIM retirement sick leave election, and then right above the highlighted area, okay, that yellow area, the bar area, the retirement sick leave hours payout election for TWU and IM. You click on that, and that's where you would elect to roll over your your unused sick days into the RHRA plan. All right, I'll give you a second to get that all written down. All places, pay and benefits, up here, this is where you go. Retirement planning documents, and then just go to step 1, come down here, this area here, and then click on this link, and that will take you to where you need to complete the information to roll over your RHRA, your unused sick days into your RHRA. Okay, so all of you are more than likely familiar with the amount of money that you will be receiving deposited into your RHRA. Obviously, if you're 4 years or more from Medicare, you get 150. If you're eligible for Medicare, then it's 100,000, and then you've got your schedule there in between. Couple of cautions. Number 1, the RHRA account is for the retiree, spouse, and eligible dependents. If you listen to a Zoom meeting that we did about a week or so ago, there was information that was provided that said eligible dependents were not permitted. Eligible dependents, spouse, and the retiree. You can use the RHRA account for all 3 situations: yourself, your spouse, and eligible dependents. And if you have a special needs child that's older than age 26, they could qualify as well, as long as you meet the criteria. Excluded expenses, there's a very detailed list. You can go out to the IRS website and see what is excluded, or you can go to the Benefits Service Center. One of the ones that I want to point out that is important is, to the extent that you have coverage with another employer, for example, your spouse. If your spouse has coverage from another employer, then you have to ask yourself the question, are the premiums paid for that coverage pre-tax or post-tax? If it is pre-tax, you cannot use the RHRA account to cover that premium. You can still cover eligible expenses, but you cannot use it to cover the premium. If it is a post-tax payment for the health insurance, so if your spouse, if you're looking at going over to your spouse's coverage and their health insurance is paid with after-tax dollars, and you can generally find that on your pay stub, then you can use the RHRA account to pay for those premiums. This is important for either you and or your spouse. At the end of the 30 months of COBRA, if you have not become Medicare eligible, this is an area where a number of folks will look to obtain insurance if their spouse has coverage. So the question is then, can I use those premiums paid for pre-tax? The RHRA cannot be used. Post-tax, you can use the RHRA account to pay for those premiums. There are 3 requirements to be eligible for the RHRA account. You're probably familiar with these. It's similar to the other 10 years of seniority with the company. You have to be a frontline member, and you have to be must meet the test of the 65-point plan, which is 10 years of company service plus your age must equal 65. All right. Benefits. What are the benefits of this RHRA account? This is a very attractive benefit that they're putting on the table to encourage you to consider taking the VEOP. The RHRA is going to cover eligible medical, dental, vision, and prescription costs, premiums, co-pays, out-of-pockets, and deductibles. So it's a very attractive benefit that is provided to encourage you to look at taking the early out. This is probably the #1 reason, or a high priority reason, as to why people have not taken an early out package that was provided before. So they have really enriched the benefit of the RHRA by increasing the amount of funds available to help you transition to Medicare. #2, the RHRA can be used to cover COBRA health insurance premiums on the exchange or individual market. So you can go out and buy an individual policy. You can go to the Affordable Care Act. You can COBRA, VA benefits, TRICARE, all of those different co-op plans that are available. So you can use the RHRA to cover premiums in this situation on the exchange or the individual market. This is what's important. Participation in post-employment RHRA could cause ineligibility to receive the federal subsidy. In other words, once you separate from the company and you have money in your RHRA account, and you go to the exchange, the Affordable Care Act, to obtain your insurance, your health insurance, generally you are eligible for a federal subsidy. So let's use an example. If your premium $1,500 a month with a $4,500 deductible as an example, if your income is below a certain threshold, you're eligible for a federal subsidy towards the cost of that premium. So $1,200 or $1,500 a month premium. Let's say you qualify for an $1,100 federal subsidy, your out of pocket would be $400. And then you could use the RHRA, you would assume that you could use the RHRA to cover your $400 premium. That is not the case. To the extent that you have funds in your RHRA account, you are not eligible for the federal subsidy, which means you would be responsible for the entire $1,500. The $1,500 you can use to pay that premium with the RHRA funds, but you're not eligible for the corresponding reduction in the premium of the federal subsidy. So hopefully that helps you understand that, because that is a pretty significant issue. All right. If you or your spouse are eligible or Medicare eligible, it can cover your Medicare B, D, and supplement plans, as well as your Medicare Advantage. There are, again, 4 parts to Medicare. A is in apple, B is in boy, D is in dog. A is in apple covers your hospital, B covers your physician's hospital charges, B physician's charges, D is your prescription, and your supplement picks up what Medicare does not. You are eligible to use your RHRA to pay for those costs. It can also be used to reimburse you for out-of-pocket medical expenses that are not covered under like your co-pays and deductibles, etc. Your spouse may continue to use any remaining balance upon your passing away. So if you pass away and there's money left in that RHRA account, your spouse can continue to use those unused funds to cover those premiums, out-of-pocket medical expenses for medical, dental, vision, and prescription. And again, after-tax medical premiums are reimbursed. I mentioned this earlier. So pre-tax medical expenses are not. After-tax medical expenses are reimbursed by submitting a claim for reimbursement. You can't use your debit card. You'll be getting a debit card for your RHRA, but there are certain expenses and premiums that you will have to submit a claim in order to be reimbursed. And lastly, unused funds in the RHRA account are rolled over next year until your account is depleted, unlike your FSA. So unused funds in the RHRA, you can roll over to subsequent years until the entire account balance has been depleted. All right. Retirement. When can you commence your pension under the VEOP? 12 months. Eligible team members can commence their pension after separation on September 27th of 2021. Because you are on active payroll, you are not eligible to commence pension while on active payroll. Under your VEOP lump sum, you separate from the company on the 30th. You can begin commencing your pension on October 1 of 2020. All right. 401ks, contributions and company match. Under the VEOP 12 months, you can continue to contribute to your 401k until separation. So September 27th of 2021, any company match will continue until separation. So this is one of the reasons why people are saying, well, I like the VEOP 12 months, as compared to the VEOP lump sum. You separate from the company on September 30th. You are not eligible. you are not eligible to make 401k contributions. That raises the question, can I take the lump sum and put it into the 401k? Well, the lump sum is paid in August of next year. And the answer is no, because you're off of payroll. However, if you're married, your spouse could, and if they have a 401k, they could increase their 401k contributions. And you could also do a non-spousal, you could do a spousal IRA contribution as well. So you do have ways to minimize the tax, but you technically cannot take the 401k, the lump sum and put it into your 401k. As compared to during the 12-month period, you can take any or all of your compensation up to the maximum contribution into 401k, which is about $26,000. And you could go ahead and put that into the 401k because you're on active payroll. All right. So what's going to happen is many of you have asked, how do I enroll in Social Security? Because you're going to be leaving the company, you would like to know, okay, what's the process to do so and when should I do that? So there's a couple of ways. You can do an online enrollment. There is the web address. This is actually the home page of Social Security. You can call the 800 number. The 800 number is 772-1213. So if you wanted to call and speak to a person, you could do so by calling 1-800-772-1213. That is the telephone number over in Maryland, which is basically the headquarters for Social Security. Or you can simply go online and get down to the retirement. Now, disregard the information up above, but come down here where the arrow is. You simply go right here, click on that button, and that will take you to the enrollment process online for Social Security. Medicare. Medicare is managed by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. If you're eligible for Medicare, again, you must enroll in Medicare because that is primary to your health care through work. So in order to do that, you can sign up on the website at Social Security, or you can call Medicare at 1-800-633-4227. So if you wanted to, you can speak to a person. You can do it on the website on Social Security. If you want to do it, you can also go back here on the Social Security website, and down in the bottom right-hand corner is where you would enroll in the Medicare enrollment, just below the retirement section. So both of those, you can enroll in Social Security and Medicare, and both at the Social Security website. All right. Here's where I want to come back and emphasize this disclaimer. Neither the TWU or myself are rendering any legal advice. I've done a lot of phone calls here over the last couple of weeks, and I would say 90% of the calls have asked, you know, what's going to happen in the event that American Airlines goes bankrupt. And again, this is not legal advice. You can go find this out on the internet. But in order to help you make an informed, educated decision, it's not enough just to say, well, who knows? You're trying to make an informed decision. So from an educational perspective, you have to ask yourself, where do you stand in line with other creditors? So there are priority claims. When a company goes bankrupt, you now become a claim. You have the right to make a claim, and so as a result of that, you become a creditor of the company. And so where you can pretty much put yourself is right here, unpaid employee compensation. That would deal with the VEOP 12 months or the lump sum. Now, again, I'm not saying that that's where it would fall, but in general, you could see yourself, if there are 10 people standing in line, that lump sum or paid out over 12 months is deemed to be unpaid compensation. So it would put you in fourth position behind other creditors. With respect to your employee benefits, i.e. the RHRA, that could potentially put you in the fifth position. So those funds are potentially at risk. So to me, there's a two-pronged question you have to ask yourself. Number one, what is the probability of American going bankrupt? Number two, if they do, where do you stand in line relative to other creditors? If you want to stay abreast to the what's going on with the airline industry, last week, I believe it was last week, the airline, or the week before, the airline industry came out with their earnings reports. And so staying abreast to the earnings reports, reading information like that. Obviously, you guys are very close to the industry in terms of what's going on, but you have to look at it from, for example, first quarter of next year, the industry slows down and the company is trying to get prepared to weather this next season coming off of the CARES Act as of September 30th and trying to preserve as much cash as possible, as well as getting through the first quarter of next year when travel in, historically is low. So that's the reason why we're seeing a lot of these early outs and incentives to leave the company, is because they, from my recollection last week when I heard the airline industry at American Airlines, their burn rate's gone from $100 million a day down to approximately $30 million a day. So they're trying to do everything that they can. So in terms of helping you make a decision, because many of you are relying upon that RHRA account, this at least gives you an idea of where you would stand in line. And I just went out and grabbed this particular article. You could Google it if you want to. There are a number of articles. Obviously, I don't know Mr. Lewis, but he is a legislative attorney. This was out on the internet. It was a very good article discussing priority unsecured creditors. So you can walk through that if you wanted to get some more information yourself and trying to assess the risk of what would happen in the event of bankruptcy with American Airlines. Okay, I think at this point, what I'll do is, let me switch over here. Let's go here. There we go. Give me a thumbs up if you see me versus my screen now. Okay, good, thank you. Let's go through, Dustin is writing questions down, but I'm gonna try and go through and see if I can answer some of these questions. Would you please tell everyone that American Airlines is wrong about telling us that we can't get COBRA for only our spouse and child if the retiree has Medicare ABD already? AA says retiree must pay for COBRA and make it secondary. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on there. Number one, if the retiree is Medicare eligible, Medicare has got to be primary to the company's plan. So, but if your spouse is not Medicare eligible, they can continue to have their health insurance premiums paid, their COBRA premiums paid. So they can stay on COBRA for the unused portion of the 30 months. Thank you, sir. So a spouse can continue to stay on coverage even though the retiree is on Medicare. And again, as I mentioned earlier, you can use the RHRA for spouse and child's expenses. COBRA is not RHRA. The RHRA is money that is placed into an account to reimburse medical expenses. You will be going on COBRA, okay, if you leave the company under the lump sum for 30 months. You have 30 months of coverage under the VEOP 12 months. During that period of time, if either you or your spouse become Medicare eligible, the other spouse can continue to stay on COBRA for the remaining 30-month period. Okay? I think that's what they're asking. Will pre-existing medical bills be paid when receiving and using RHRA? It is for your premiums, copay, out-of-pockets, copays, and deductibles. So pre-existing medical bills will continue to be reimbursed as you would have had under your active coverage using the RHRA account to pay for those expenses. There is no way, is there a way to roll your lump sum into the 401k? And the answer is no. You cannot take the 401k if you're taking lump sum and put that into your 401k. The lump sum, you will be separating from the company on the 30th of September. If you separated from the company, you do not have access to the 401k. Therefore, your lump sum proceeds cannot be deposited into the 401k. However, you can, if your spouse has a 401k, you can increase their contributions by the amount of your lump sum that you will be receiving. So for example, if you're going to be getting $50,000, 50% of base pay, and I'm just using that as an example, and your spouse is contributing a couple of $1,000s to their 401k, and let's assume that they're 55 years of age and older, you would be able to increase your spouse's 401k contribution and be able to pick up the unused portion of their eligible amount that they can contribute annually of $26,000. Now you're going to have to cash flow that if you take the lump sum, because you won't receive the lump sum until August of on or before August of next year. And if you exceed the $26,000 in the 401k, even if you are retired from the company, you would be eligible to do an IRA for a non-working spouse. The pros and cons of leveling pension versus starting Social Security earlier. Can you push out taking Social Security until 70 with pension leveling? Let me answer the back half of that. The leveling option is not available. The leveling option terminates, well, how do I say this? The leveling option reduces at your Social Security normal retirement age, which could be 65, 66, 66 and 2, 4, 8, 6, 8, 10, 12, 67. So depending upon your Social Security normal retirement age, that's when your pension would reduce. Can you push out taking Social Security until 70 with the pension leveling? The answer is yes. You can defer Social Security until age 70, but it has nothing to do with the leveling. Social Security is paid from Social Security Trust Fund. American Airlines pays your pension. The leveling option, the pros and the cons are, with respect to the leveling, is if you, let me just give an example of how the leveling option works. Let's assume that, and I'm going to do this based upon a single life, okay? You take the single life option under the pension. And let's say that you're 60 years of age. And your American Airlines pension benefit is $1,000 a month. You're 60, your pension is $1,000 a month. And you want to separate from the company, but $1,000 a month is not going to meet your expenses. The pension plan has a leveling option that permits you to take more from the pension. So between 60 and I'm going to use 62 is when you're first eligible to commence Social Security. And let's assume that your Social Security benefit at 62 is $1,500 a month. So what happens is, rather than starting your Social Security, rather than starting your pension at 1,000, American Airlines will permit you to take more from your pension from 60 to 62. They'll let you, in this example, take $1,500 a month more. So rather than drawing $1,000 a month, you draw $2,500 a month. That's all coming from your pension. So from 60 to 62, you draw 1,000 a month, you draw 2,500 a month. And then when you turn 62, your pension's going to drop slightly, but your Social Security has been able to, you're able to turn on Social Security. Now you turn on your Social Security of $1,500 a month, and you have your 1,000 drops down a little bit, let's say to 900, but then you add those two together and you're basically at $2,400 to $2,500 a month. So your income is level. So that's the leveling concept under American Airlines pension plan. You can also level to your full Social Security normal retirement age. So whatever that is, you can level from, let's say, 60 to 67. And what it permits you to do is, rather than commencing your Social Security benefit at 62, it will grow to your full Social Security retirement age. So if you commence Social Security at 62 and your full Social Security retirement age is 67, if you're entitled to 1,000 a month at 67, there is a 30% reduction in your Social Security benefit if you commence at 62. So what happens if you're entitled at 67 to start and you start at 62, rather than drawing 1,000, you're going to draw $700 a month. By leveling to your full Social Security retirement age, now you're going to get the entire $1,000 a month benefit. And what is the pro of that is that, number one, you will have if you're drawing let's use an example, $1,500 a month is Social Security and 1,000 is pension. $1,500 a month of your income will be adjusted for inflation, called a cost of living adjustment, COLA, because that is Social Security. So if you start at 60, you're going to have a smaller portion of your combined income of Social Security and pension will be getting a cost of living adjustment. Whereas if you defer, then you have a larger portion of your income getting a cost of living adjustment, which would be the Social Security portion. The other thing is, if you pass away, your surviving spouse is going to receive a larger amount. So there are several pros to commencing or using the leveling option to let your Social Security grow to the larger amount, whether you want to level to 62 or 67. Okay, let's go to another question. If I take the lump sum, can I immediately start using the RHRA for 30 months? The answer is yes. I'm 67 and want to use Social Security in a supplemental plan. So you're going to be going on Medicare. I don't want to pay for my AA insurance for myself, but need it for my dependent son who is 24. Can I carry only my son on COBRA? Will the rates be the active rates? I plan to take the lump sum option. The answer is, you can go to Medicare, go get your Medicare supplement. You will, when you get your COBRA package, you will see employee, and then you will see eligible dependent, your son. You will check the box for eligible dependent to continue paying for your son's health insurance at the active rates that you are paying right now for the 30-month period, even though you are not on COBRA. So you don't have to be on COBRA. Your spouse and eligible dependents can be on COBRA. Now let's break down COBRA. You may not take the health insurance, but you may take the vision and the dental for you. And in this situation, your son may take health, medical, vision, and dental. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, you can pick and choose between health insurance, vision, and dental for you and any eligible dependents. For the sick time, if I choose the 50% payout of my RHRA, if I choose the 50% payout to my RHRA, is that money subject to bankruptcy decisions? Oh, okay, I got it. You're going to be entitled to 50% of your base pay for your, okay, and you want to put that into the RHRA. Should American file bankruptcy, is that subject to the claims of creditors? I am thinking it may be after to take the payout for my sick time, because it's real money I receive now, even though it would be taxed. I don't know whether or not your unused sick time here's the way I look at your unused sick time. It's an employee benefit. If the American Airlines goes bankrupt and you've deposited that in your RHRA account, it would seem logical, doesn't seem legal, but it seems logical that it would be subject to the claims of creditors. Let me go back and say something with respect to the bankruptcy that I forgot to mention. Bankruptcy is a very complex area. It is driven by statutes, case laws, and things like this. And you can go to different states and give different outcomes for bankruptcies. So this is a very, very complex area. There is no legal advice going on here, but it just helps you assess making that decision. And so to the extent that you take the unused sick time, you're saying that it's real money, you'd like to receive that now, then that would be a decision. If you get it upon separation, then obviously you would have that available to you in lieu of having it in the RHRA, where it may be subject to the claims of creditors. If I turn 65 in 6 months, but my wife will be a few years later, turning 65, would I keep paying for employee and spouse after I go on Medicare? You would go on Medicare. You can go on Medicare A, B, D, or get your Medicare supplement. You would not be required to do the COBRA, and yet your spouse would be eligible to continue under the COBRA for the remaining 30 months. Will the lump sum next year be taxed for 2020 income or 2021? Under tax law, the way that works, and again, not giving legal or tax advice, but it comes under constructive receipt. You don't have the constructive receipt of that money until 2021. Therefore, in 2021, when you receive the money, that is the year in which it would be taxed. Do we know what the tax rate will be for vacation payout and sick time back pay? I don't know the answer to how they withhold taxes on your vacation and your unused sick time if you sell it back. They may withhold at a higher rate. If they do, when you file your taxes, you will receive a refund. They may withhold at the same rate of tax withholding as you have for your payroll. I don't know the answer to that one. Can I use the RHRA to pay 2020 FSA and monthly premiums for Blue Cross Blue Shield as soon as I leave? You can use the RHRA to pay your monthly premiums for eligible expenses, qualified medical expenses. Qualified medical expenses are premiums that are paid with after-tax dollars, the premiums that you would be paying for COBRA to the extent that you've separated from the company. So that would mean lump sum, or you'd have to wait until next year. Out-of-pockets, co-pays, and deductibles and prescription expenses. Will RHRA pay for nursing home care? They will pay for long-term care premiums. I can't recall off the top of my head whether nursing home care, intermediate, custodial, and skilled, I don't know the answer to that one. You'd have to go to the website and look and dig into that one to see. I don't know the answer to that one. Let's see. Does IAM or PBGC have a leveling option? Well, let me address the leveling option, and let me address two things here. Number one, I am not familiar with the IAM plan, so that's just to be fair up front. With respect to the PBGC and leveling, the PBGC does not have a leveling plan. However, if you have separated from American and commenced your pension and you took the leveling option, the PBGC will permit you to continue the leveling option. But if you have not commenced pension and American goes bankrupt and they were able to put the pension plan over to the PBGC, and you have not commenced your pension, you commence your pension while you are at the PBGC, there is no leveling option at the PBGC. If you have commenced your pension prior to going to the PBGC, the PBGC will honor the leveling option. So if you commence your pension while in the if you start your pension and at the PBGC, there is no leveling option. If you have leveled, there is a leveling if you have commenced that leveling option prior to going to the PBGC will honor the leveling option. As far as the IAM plan, I am not familiar with your the IAM pension. Flight benefits. What happens to flight benefits? I'm not an expert on the flight benefits, but you know, you can go online and take a look at all that. But you're gonna have a number. You get your D1s and D2s and D3. I'm not an expert on that side, but that is available in the FAQ of the VEOP. Again, another question. There's 2 or 3 of them in a row here. What would happen? What would be the active rate if I only cover COBRA for dependents? What will happen is when you receive your COBRA package, you will be able to go in and you will see, you will be able to elect coverage for a dependent. If you're going to go on Medicare, it is at the same rate that you are right now, and you can check that box and you'll be able to see what the premium would be for an eligible dependent. But it's at the same rate that you're paying right now. So let me just throw out an example. Let's say that you're a single person with a child, an eligible dependent child. And let's just hypothetically say that you're paying $150 a month for the 2 of you, and you're 60 years old. Well, you're more expensive than a 14-year-old. So let's say of the $150 a month, you're $100 a month and your eligible dependent is $50 a month. You're on, well, maybe I should say you're 65. You're going on Medicare. Let's say your premium is $100 a month and your eligible dependence is $50 a month. You're not going to be electing COBRA. You're going to be going on Medicare. So then what would happen is when you fill out your package, you would not elect coverage for you for health insurance. You would elect it for your eligible dependent. The eligible dependent's $50 a month, and they would continue to pay. You would continue to make arrangements to pay that for the entire 30-month period, or until they become uneligible or ineligible at age 26. I'm taking the leveling to SSNRA 67. Can I still start collecting Social Security at 62? Okay, this is a good question. I'm gonna be a little rhetorical with answering the question, and so I'm going to ask you, where does your Social Security come from? Your Social Security check? It comes from Social Security. Where does your American Airlines pension check come from? It comes from American Airlines. Those are 2 separate buckets of money. So now you choose to level. If you choose to, and let's say you're 60 years old and you want to level to 67, that's your full Social Security retirement age. You can choose the leveling option, which rather than as I used in my previous example, rather than drawing $1,000 a month, you're going to draw $1,500 a month, or $2,500 a month. I'm sorry, you go from 1,000 to 2,500. You can do that from 60 all the way to 67. The question here is, can I start my Social Security at 62? Because I'm leveling. I'm taking the leveling option to 67. Could I go ahead and commence my Social Security though, and not at 67, but at age 62? And the answer is yes. That's called double dipping. The idea there is you are supposed to, if you're leveling, defer Social Security until 62 or 67. Well, if you're going to 67, you're wanting your Social Security to grow, but you're eligible to commence it at 62. So you can start your pension and level to 67, but you're supposed to level to 67, but if you commence your Social Security at 62, you're going to get a smaller amount of Social Security, but that is called double dipping. So yes, you can take the leveling option and commence Social Security at 62, but you better be very, very cautious, because you're drawing a lot of money out of that pension, because your pension is going to drop when you become eligible at 67 for Social Security. And because you started your Social Security at 62, you have a smaller amount of Social Security. You better be using those extra dollars cautiously. For example, getting out of debt so that you have payments drop, so your expenses drop. Otherwise, there will be a very interesting reality that will occur at age 67 because your pension's dropping and your Social Security will be able to have commenced at a younger age and therefore at a lower amount. When going to COBRA, what does the active rate mean? Is that my present contribution alone or my contribution plus what AA pays? The question here is active rates. During the 30-month period of time, you will be paying active rates for health insurance. Your active rate is what you are paying for the entire 30 months. You can go on your paycheck, take a look at what you're paying, multiply that number times 26, divide it by 12, and that will tell you what your monthly rate would be. That rate is going to be fixed for that 30-month period of time. I'm assuming that they could increase it on every January if we go through a January period where rates in general increase. But yes, you would be active rates is what you are paying. The company is going to pick up the balance of the of what they have been paying for the 30-month period of time. So IAM NPF have pensions and not IAM members. Okay. And PBGC. And the IAM has not offered anything like this. Thanks again. Okay. Thank you. Yes. All right. I think I've looking down through here quickly. I'm seeing a lot of redundant questions. I think I've answered them. I think I've got you covered. All right, so I think with that, what time is it? 11 o'clock, we've gone on an hour. So if you have questions, you know, feel free to reach out. We'll try and help you through this process. And we have until August the 12th at midnight to be able to make your election. And we can go from there. All right. Any last questions? I don't see any. Oh, wait. If I know I'm going to take the lump sum, can I sign up now for Part B and D? If you're Medicare eligible, this is a good timing question. You know that if you're going to be taking the lump sum, your last day is going to be September 30th. You should be calling and enrolling Medicare effective October 1. So if you're already in A, that's great. Go ahead and call and enroll in B. If you're not in either A or obviously A or B, then make your effective date October 1. That way you'll go right into Medicare. And then you need to obtain your Medicare Part D prescription. Medicare only covers 80% of the bills. Now you need to begin looking at Medicare supplement. You need to be talking to somebody that can also educate you on your Medicare Advantage to see what you need to be educated. Do you want to do Medicare Advantage or you want to do Medicare, traditional Medicare with the Medicare supplement? Two different ways of delivering your health care. In fact, let me go over and show you this. I'm going to go back and share my screen very briefly. Share screen right here. Let me go back to this, or go to this real quick. Okay, whoops. What's going on here? Let me come down here. Sorry about that. Okay, here's what I'm talking about with respect to your full retirement age. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the PowerPoint. Okay. Age at which you are entitled to 100% of your retirement benefits. So here's the table. At age 62, in this up here, this is age 62 benefit reduction. So come down here. If you are 66, but you commence, if your full retirement age is 66, but you come, and let's say you're age 62, and you commence your pension at 62, you have a 25% reduction in your Social Security benefit, which means if you're entitled to $1,000 a month at age 66, 25% reduction of $1,000 is $750 at 62. You're going to get $750 a month at age 62. So that's important to know. Let me come over here. So here's an example. At age 66, your full retirement age is 66, and let's say your monthly benefit's $2,000. If you commence at 62, you have a 25% reduction, or you get 75% of the $2,000, you're going to get $1,500. The other thing is, if you defer, you're going to get an 8% increase per year. So rather than drawing $2,000, you're going to draw $2,640. So delaying, you are rewarded by an 8% increase in your Social Security benefit by delaying per year. So a $500 reduction, a $640 increase. Here's another example, benefits available. Well, I'm not going to go into this. Let me just get down here. Oh, okay, guys. You have got to create a budget to understand what your monthly expenses are. Then you have to begin backing into what are your income sources. My pension, my Social Security. Does my wife has a pension? Does she have Social Security? Do I have investment income from my 401k or other investments? Do I have rental properties? But that's great from, you've got to understand what your expenses are. That's my North Star in helping you make decisions. Because if your expenses are $4,000 a month and your income's $3,000 a month, you got problems. But if your income is $4,000 a month and your expenses are $3,000 a month, you're in great shape. So sit down, do a budget, and that'll help out. Other health insurance options, you have COBRA, obviously, which we're going to have at the same rate for 30 months. You can purchase the retiree medical. You got VA benefits, TRICARE. You can go out to the co-op plans. In Oklahoma, there are a lot of opportunities for end-to-end benefits to the extent that you qualify there. Spouse's employer, and then the Affordable Care Act and individual coverage. So there's a lot of options that are out there if you're looking for bridging from the at the end of the 30 months getting into Medicare. Here's a note about Medicare. This is where I wanted to go. Regardless of age, Medicare benefits start at age 65, subject to exceptions. You have not been, nor are you, required to commence Medicare if you are age 65 working for American Airlines. And the reason why is because American Airlines has more than 20 employees. So you did not have to enroll in Medicare B, so you don't have to pay those Medicare Part B premiums. However, when you're talking to your friends and your friends turned 65 and their employer did not have 20, they were 20 employees or less, they had to enroll in Medicare. So that's just a little note of a little point. So you're eligible the first day you turn 65. If you're already receiving Social Security benefits, the month you attain 65, you're automatically enrolled in Medicare. You may be eligible for Medicare sooner if you're disabled or if you have permanent kidney failure. To the extent that you're on Social Security disability, it's from the 2 years from the date of approval, you become eligible for Medicare. If you're not currently receiving Medicare benefits, you must enroll to receive Medicare benefits. You should apply 3 months before attaining your age 65. However, if you are older than 65 and you're separating from American Airlines, you will end up obtaining a form from American signed by the employer stating that I'm 67, I didn't enroll in Medicare Part B. You're not going to be subject to any penalties for Part B premiums under Medicare or your Part D prescription because you had credible coverage through American Airlines. So those are just some important bits of information there. And then again, there are 4 parts to Medicare. So how do I know what I should choose? There are 2 ways to deliver Medicare. Number 1, you can go traditional Medicare. Traditional Medicare has the following components to it. Part A, hospital insurance. Part B, physician's coverage. Now, after that, you have to ask, do I need prescription drug? And the answer is yes with respect to your traditional Medicare. So you have to do a Part D prescription. Then, do you need to add supplemental coverage? Well, the answer is a Medicare supplement is required to the extent that you do A, B, D. This only covers 80% of the bills. So you have to supplement Medicare with a Medicare supplement. An alternative way to deliver your health care when you become Medicare when you become Medicare eligible is, rather than using traditional Medicare, you do what are called Medicare Advantage plans. They are like an HMO or a PPO. They're all-in-one plans. They include vision and dental. They include your prescription drug card, the majority of them. So you continue to pay your Part B premium. It's subtracted from your Social Security check, but Part C is your Medicare Advantage plan. It combines A and B and generally D into a single plan. So Medicare Advantage includes A, B, and generally your prescription. If not, you have to go and get a prescription drug card if D is not included in your Medicare Advantage plan. If you use Medicare Advantage plans, you are limited to the Part D prescription plan that is available to you. As compared to traditional Medicare Part D, you can shop that every year based upon the medications that you're taking. So generally speaking, most states have multiple prescription drug card plans underwritten by insurance companies. If you do your Medicare Advantage plan, you have to use their prescription drug card plan in that program. If you decide to leave Medicare Advantage and go back to traditional Medicare, in order to qualify for that Medicare supplement, you will have to answer medical questions. So if you take a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to come back over to traditional Medicare, you will have to answer medical questions in order to be eligible for your Medicare supplement, which means they could accept you, increase your premium, or decline you. So it's two different ways of delivering your health care. Traditional Medicare lets you go anywhere you want. Your Medicare Advantage plans are all in one, but you have to stay in the network. And many of them include your prescription and dental and vision as well. All right. So that covers 80%. So you have to go get a gap in coverage of 20. That's where your Medicare picks it up. And that's sort of where that all works. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to go through all of this. All righty. These are all some other issues. So, okay. I would like everybody to order your pension packet. By doing so, you're going to get your pension packet in your hand. So what I want you to do is you can order your pension packet by going on JetNet, or you can simply call the 800 number, 800-447-2000. Listen to the menu options queue up and push number 1. Listen to the menu options queue up a second time and push number 3. And then listen to the menu options queue up the last time and push number 4. That will put you into the area where you can order your pension packet. Now, if you're taking the lump sum, you're eligible to commit your pension on October 1, but that's 60 days away basically. So that will delay getting your pension packet. So what you want to do is call and tell them your last day worked is going to be August 31st with the pension start date of September 1. That way they will release the pension packet to you. It will be now good for 180 days from the date that you make your call and they send you your packet, okay? Your pension packet will be good for 180 days. If you tell them that you're leaving October or August 31st with a pension start date of September 1, we will simply cross those dates out, write in 9/30 as your last day worked with the pension commencement date of October 1, and you'll just initial it. But this way you get your pension packet in your hand and you'll have it available. All right. Okay. Let me jump out of here. And I think there are maybe a couple more questions that came in. It would be nice to have pre-existing medicals. We did that. Okay, I think I don't think I see any new questions. So, all right, guys, I will conclude this presentation, and this will be recorded and uploaded. I'll send it, I believe I'll send it to Mr. Ball over at the local 514, and then he'll more than likely somehow get it out to the other locals so that you'll have available access to it. Appreciate you, and hopefully everything will work out here. And if you have questions, give us a jingle. Take care. Bye-bye.